Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Richard Wagner. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank or express my sincere thanks to Professor Richard Wagner and Global Page NS for giving me this opportunity to share some information about ENT services in Nepal. Yeah, Nepal is a small landlocked country which lies between India and China. It has total size of 147,000 square kilometer. Geographically, it has been divided into three plains. Southern part is a plain, which is called Tarai, and middle part is occupied by hills, and the northern part in northern part, there are high mountains. The total population of our country is about 30 million. Now, let me share some key indicators. The average life expectancy of Nepalese is 71.7 years, a bit higher in female. The population growth rate is 1.85%. The per capita income is 1100 US dollar. It has bit decreased due to COVID pandemic this year actually. This is the previous year's data. And adult literacy rate is about 67.9%, and population which lie below poverty line is 18.7%, where the people who lives in rural areas are about 80%, and average family size is 4.6. They 70% of people they use fire they use firewood, cattle dung, agro waste products as a fuel. Now, let me share the burden of ENT diseases in this country. According to a study done by Acharya et al. In a government school of far western Nepal, so ENT disorders in about 50% of the school children. Out of these, ear diseases were found in 35%. Similarly, another study done by Joshi et al. Showed ear problem in 74%. The most common disease of all these ENT diseases were chronic otitis media mucosal type, which was in 32.5%. Another study by Chaudhary et al., which was also done in the hospital, tertiary hospital, out of 14,000 patients who visited ENTOPD, 24% were children. And among them, the maximum problem were the ear problem, with ear problem. Now, with this data, we can see see the ear problem, the communist problem among ENT diseases. Therefore, I want to highlight some more about ear problems. Now, the first study regarding hearing impairment and ear pathology was done by Little et al. In 1991 and published in Journal of Laryngeal Otology. So it was done in two regions of Nepal, and out of 15,000 subjects, the hearing impairment was found in about 17%. Of these, 55.2% of children had some form of otitis media. And regarding sensory neural hearing loss, about 14% of sensory neural hearing loss was also preventable. That is, it was caused by infection, trauma, or some birth defects. And another study by Adhikari et al., which was done in 4 schools of Kathmandu Valley, showed the maximum number of ear problems. The commonest one was wax, followed by the chronic otitis media. Similarly, another study done by Smith et al. In southern district of Nepal, southern part of Nepal, showed 6.1% overall hearing loss. The ball retracted tympanic membrane was found in, it is not visible, isn't it? Right-sided data was the 12.5%. Similarly, abnormal tympanic membrane was found in 26%. Now, the another study done in school-going children of 2 districts of southern part of Nepal also showed the various elements in 36% of school-going children. The otitis media with effusion was in 16.7%. So another study, the recent study by Marsden et al., it was also done in government hospitals. 509 government hospitals of different parts of Nepal showed hearing impairment in 5.73%, with conductive hearing loss about in 70% of children. That is, preventable hearing loss was about 70%. So these studies showed that the hearing impairment has been decreased with the due course of time. Now, why are ear diseases common in Nepal? It's due to low socioeconomic status. As we see in this picture, the picture of how the people in southern part of Nepal. So they are living in small thatched houses, and many people, many number of the members of a family, they stay in a single room with poor hygiene, and there is a lack of education. Okay? And as I showed, the literacy rate is about 67% only, and there is the people use firewood for cooking. Similarly, and there is lack of roads. The mules, donkeys, as are used as a porter to carry their things especially in hilly areas. It's been covered. Okay. So, and there is the smoking habit. Like this woman is smoking with her baby on her lap. Okay. And there is a lack of health facility. Yeah, due to that, that he's carrying his sick father on his back to the health post. Okay? And there are some ritual, social norms or customs which cannot be avoided. In this picture, you can see after delivery, immediately after delivery, some of the ethnic groups, they apply oil on the body of mother and baby. And also they don't only apply on the body, they apply in the ear. They put the oil in the ear also, inside the ear. And also there are some habits of picking the ear with dirty instruments. In Nepal, it's called kalkone. They specially made traditional instrument they use to pick their ear. Now, regarding health services, who are providing ENT services in Nepal? Besides the government of Nepal, there are some private hospitals, about 300, there are 300 private hospitals, semi-government or university hospitals, about 9, and organization, various NGOs, INGOs are working, and similarly, there are many cooperative hospitals. They are providing health services regarding, including ENT services. Now, level of health, governmental health institution had been divided into different levels. The number one, this is in local level, which includes health post or community health units, and the second level is primary health hospitals. It has been divided into two groups: sub-metropolitan or metropolitan city hospital and rural municipality hospital. The secondary hospitals, the third level is secondary hospitals, which include provincial health science academy, and tertiary hospitals are under federal government, and the fifth level is academic or super specialty hospitals, cancer centers, transplant centers, etc. This is the according to Nepal Health Infrastructure Development Guideline 2017. Now let me show um, this under local government, primary hospitals and community health units are under local government, and provincial academic hospitals and secondary hospitals, they are provincial health ministry, under provincial health ministry. Similarly, federal academic hospitals, super specialty hospitals, and tertiary hospitals are under federal government. This is a proposed framework of for health of institutions of government health institutions. So I've already mentioned there are various NGOs and NGOs working in this field, namely the Impact Nepal, BRINOS, British Nepal over Otology Service, and CBR Bhaktapur, Air Care Nepal, Air Aid Nepal. They are working tremendously in different parts of Nepal. Impact Nepal has focused in the middle part, the southern part, and mid-western part of Nepal. BRINOS is working in mid-western part of Nepal. Similarly, Air Aid Nepal is working in western part of Nepal. Its hospital is located in the Pokhara. And there are other organizations as well: WHO, Society of Otolaryngologists of Nepal, so Speech and Hearing Association Nepal, Cochlear Implant Nepalese group. They are also, and Shruti Foundation, Karuna Foundation, they are also working in different parts of Nepal. Similarly, there is Children Eye and ENT Rehabilitation Service Hospital. It's located in the Kathmandu Valley. They are doing tremendous job for many years. Now, regarding human resources, ENT doctors, there are about 196 ENT doctors who are registered in the society. And there are some, about 30 doctors, ENT doctors are still, has not been registered. And the ratio of ENT specialists and population is about 1 per 151,000 population. Regarding audiologists and speech language pathologists, there are 78 these technologists. They are registered in their society, but in Nepal only 52 are working. Others are out of country. So ratio is about 1:565,000 population. Other health workers are audiometricians, and sign language interpreters, trainers, teachers of deaf school, hearing aid technicians, health assistants, community medicine assistants, primary health workers are also working in the primary level. Now, regarding role of Society of Otolaryngologists of Nepal, so it has done some important works, not many, but some important works. Like regarding education and research, it has prepared, the society has prepared ENT manual for paramedics in collaboration with Government of Nepal and CHEERS. It was launched recently on the occasion of World Health Day, 7th April. Similarly, it has prepared another manual, a health manual for secondary level school teachers and community health volunteers, and also prepared standard treatment protocol for common ENT diseases is under the process. It's been launching soon. And the society has been publishing, it has got its own um, journal, uh, Nepalese Journal of ENT. It is published quarterly. Now, regarding awareness, it has prepared safety guidance for ENT surgeons, general public during COVID-19 pandemic, and it has also prepared informed consent, informed consent for common ENT surgeries for all the ENT doctors of all the hospitals of Nepal. And, it has also prepared advisory for the prevention and treatment of mucormycosis. It has been adopted by, and it has been translated in Nepali by Nepal government. And the society has participated in various awareness programs like World Health Hearing Day, World Cancer Day, etc. Regarding services, the members of the society have participated in free-air surgical camps organized by Impact Nepal, Brainos, INF in various parts of Nepal in different times. And regarding update, during this COVID-19 pandemic, we have organized more than 18 webinars with various international experts. These are some glimpses of photographs of World Hearing Day celebration. This is the in 2020. These are some walkathon, so with placards, and we had this interaction with policymakers and also exhibition about ENT diseases. Now, there are some glimpses of webinars we organized during this pandemic. Now, what are our further plan and events? In coming week, we are organizing a conference on implantable hearing solution with Medins, Austria. Similarly, we're supposed to organize 12th SAG ENT Congress in May 2020, but it has been postponed due to COVID pandemic. And we are planning to we have to develop pamphlets, videos of common ENT diseases in collaboration of Government of Nepal for public awareness. And we are establishing grants for short-term fellowship and researches for young ENT doctors. Now, program in Institute of Nepal. What are those? Besides master's program in otolaryngology and bachelor program in audiology and speech language pathology, we conduct primary ear care training in collaboration with Impact Nepal. till date, we have trained about 500 primary health workers that are actually health assistants and CMAs from different parts of Nepal, and basic and advanced training has been provided, similarly conducted. Similarly, automatic assistant training is also conducted. And cochlear implant surgery, we have done 174 patients have undergone this surgery. Similarly, we have started a universal neonatal hearing screening. So far, we have screened 252 neonates, and it has been postponed due to COVID, halted by COVID. Regarding workshops, well, we conduct each year we conduct 4 workshops. Till now, we have conducted 26 temporal bone dissection and ear surgery or hands-on workshops. Similarly, other workshops are functional endoscopic sinus surgery and rhinoplasty, head and neck dissection, pediatric airway management surgery. Now, till now, what have we achieved? In 30 years duration, 30 years ago, deafness was the commonest disability in Nepal. Now it has become third after physical and visual disability. Now, how was it possible? 30 years ago, there were hardly 20 ENT doctors in Nepal. Now it has become about around 200. There are around 200 ENT specialists, and 20 ENT specialists are produced. Okay, they pass out each year within Nepal. Regarding audiologists and speech language pathologists, I have mentioned there are 52 working in Nepal. And in BSLP program, we take 6 students every year. And till date, about 22 students have already passed out. And many hospitals, besides our hospitals, many hospitals are performing ear surgeries nowadays. Similarly, government and NGOs are working on it. But there are many things still we have to do. We have to focus on preventive measures, especially. So there should be more training for grassroots health workers, drug retailers, and dispensers. And we have to scale up ear care services all over Nepal. And we have to run more school screening program, school health education programs. Similarly, we should implement newborn hearing screening to high-risk babies nationwide. There are only 2 hospitals where this program is been done. And now we have to raise awareness in general public through health promotion regarding ear diseases and hearing loss. Similarly, hearing aid medicines and surgery should be provided to needy patients, and we should focus on early intervention who have the problem, and also the rehabilitation, rehabilitation. After all, we need education, any type of education. Okay, we should facilitate, we have to promote the education for all of these. Now, I like to acknowledge my junior colleagues, Dr. Yogesh Nupani, Dr. Vijay Kharel, and Mrs. Susmita Shrestha for providing me some data for this presentation. Though Nepal is a poorest country in the world, it is rich in the natural resources and culture. Therefore, I like to welcome you or request you to visit Nepal once this COVID pandemic is over. Thank you for your kind attention.
Now, Maya, thank you
So,
very much
that's
for your lecture. Um, you know, as you said, Nepal's a poor country. The amount of ear disease in Nepal is staggering compared to most places in the world. However, If you look at the Native American Indian, if you look at the Alaskan and Canadian Inuit tribes, which are the indigenous people, and if you look at the Aborigines of Australia, you'll find that the rates of ear disease are not too different from what you find in Nepal. Uh,
Yes, sir. Definitely.
so,
Yes.
there are unique pockets in the world where there is a significant amount of ear disease. I was, for a country that's not geographically very large, you got a big population of 30 million people. Uh,
Yes.
a lot of people living together, and you pointed that out very well. That um, the density of living and multiple people living under one roof. And I'm sure that many of these homes in the lower socioeconomic class are still burning wood for their fuel to cook with. And that contributes to, air pollution, upper respiratory disease, and otitis media. Um, Let me ask you a question. I saw you mentioned Mucor. In one of your slides,
Yes, sir.
you had Mucor, but
Yes, sir.
you didn't say much about it. You and
Oh, it's
the reason why I'm asking this is
uh-huh.
because in India right now, with the
Yes, sir.
with the COVID disease, they're seeing a lot of Mucor. Okay, uh,
Yes.
or excuse me, I think it's aspergillosis. They have invasive aspergillosis,
So
which
it's
is
a mucorales, sir. It is not aspergillosis. It's a mucorales, zygomatricis. Previously, it said zygomatricis. It's a bit different from aspergillus.
okay. So the
Yes.
question is, why did you mention Mucor?
So actually, yeah, during this pandemic, sir, due to COVID pandemic, after this post-COVID, the many patients previously we used to see very rarely this disease, once a year, one patient once a year. But nowadays, after post-COVID, in post-COVID patients, especially in diabetic patients, we have seen many around. There are 40 patients till now, and in our institute, we had 18 patients. Three died. Today, one patient died. So, three patients died of this problem. And they had extensive mucormycosis. One patient left against advice, and others are, and we have 8 patients in the hospital till now.
Right, the
Still.
invasive mucor is a very destructive lesion. It
Yes, sir.
literally it causes significant necrosis of all structures. People's faces are eaten away, and it could go into cranial. So that's usually what were the causes of demise in the patients that you've had on your service with mucor? How did they pass
Uh,
away? What was the reason they passed away? Was it did it go
oh, sir.
intracranial?
All right. Oh, so they had extensive disease, sir. Like involvement, bilateral cavernous sinus were involved. Intracanal, there was intracanal extension of
Exactly.
disease.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Um, I'm assuming that most hospitals, or you tell us, what is the availability of CAT scans and MRI in your country?
So yeah, in private hospitals, also in government hospitals of uh, many government hospitals nowadays it is available, sir.
It's available. Okay.
Especially the level of, yes, provincial level, it's available.
Hmm. Hmm.
In especially in city, not in rural areas. In cities, it's available.
Right. You're still, and based upon your population, you're still way under the, well, you're way under according to the developed world, but you're not doing too bad compared to some countries in Africa because you've got one ENT per 150,000. Some African countries have one ENT per 2 million. Okay.
Oh,
My
yes.
friends in Ethiopia, there's approximately
Mhm.
between 20 and 25, I would call them respectable ENT. And there's a
You.
population of 110 million people in Ethiopia. So they have
Oh.
significant, lack of ENT doctors. Your audiologist
Yes.
also, you don't have quite enough audiologists. You have one per 500,000 people.
Yes, sir. Nice.
Difficult to see an audiologist.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
And ours is the institute which produce or
Yeah,
conduct the
you put in
program.
six
Yes,
audiologists per year. You need to work on getting that improved, as well as the training
yes, sir.
of your 20 ENT doctors. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if there's any other questions. Anybody have any questions? Please open your microphone. Usually we have a few questions. Oscar, you got any questions from Ukraine?
Hello, thank you for such a nice presentation. My question is actually, you mentioned that some ENT doctors they registered within the ENT society. I was just wondering, what's the benefit of being a member of this society, and is this society play any role in education, training, or like support maybe of other ENT doctors?
Okay. Thank you, Oscar. Yes, the society conducts the CME program, CME, continuous medical education, at least 4 in a year. And we also organize national conferences, also international conferences. So if they are registered in the society, they get the discounted rate, they get facility. So regarding education, other education program, we have not started it, but we are planning to establish some grants for fellowship, short-term fellowship, and in other countries, and also for research. We like to encourage them in research for new junior doctors. Could I answer your
Does that
question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? You mentioned also that, cerumen impaction, I think in one of the hospitals accounted for like 30%. This is interesting. This is a tool from the Bronze Age, okay? That I
Oh.
got. It came out of the Middle East, okay, and it was used to clean wax, okay? And
Yes, sir.
other interesting thing in Ethiopia, you find these devices. You can buy them
Oh.
at, some are very old, some look very old, but they're not. Um, and
Uh-huh.
these are cerumen spoons. These are little spoons that
Oh, yes, sir.
that the
We have similar, but made up of bronze, sir. Bronze.
exactly
It's
these,
yellow metal. Yes, sir.
these are what the public use to clean out their ears.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yeah.
they come all kinds of sizes and shapes. I have these had
Oh,
had
yes,
these for almost
yeah,
20 years.
interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Um, anybody got any further questions? Nestor, you have any questions from Paraguay? Nope, Nestor's not got any questions. Okay. If anybody has any questions, I found this to be a really interesting lecture because, we've had lectures from other countries, and it's always interesting to see what are the major problems within the ENT community in terms of the disease that affects their population. That's number one. And the other thing is the demographics, the number of ENT doctors, the ancillary workers like speech therapists and audiologists. Um, and, there are lots of non-government organizations, as you pointed out, working in Nepal to help meet the needs of the population.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Smith from All Ears, no, it's
From
not.
UK.
Yeah,
It's from UK, sir. UK.
he's from the UK.
UK.
I've met him. I know he has a very advanced facility there. Has a
Yes.
lot of teaching, and they support a lot of the surgical needs of patients. And I can say, if anybody who's listening now, if you ever get a chance to go to Nepal, Narmaya, I'm sure will, treat you to a traditional dish of
Yes.
great food and
Yes, sir, definitely. We'd like to welcome you all in Nepal. Once the COVID is over, please.
okay. And like I said, there's lots of nonprofit organizations that could use help from people who want to, contribute to the cause. So listen, I don't have
Yes.
anything further to say. Let's see if there's a question here. There's one question in chat. Are there any fellowships? Okay. Are Neela from India wants to know if there's any fellowships in ENT specialty in Nepal. Do you have any fellowship programs at all?
So recently, yes, sir. Recently, in one institute, that is private institute, they have started. They are planning to start in head and neck oncology, sir. And we are also planning. We have developed curriculum for fellowship in neurology, in rhinology and facial plastic, and also in pediatric airway, and also head and neck surgery. But it's under process, sir. Under the process. They hasn't started it.
Mm-hmm. Now, Maya, let me ask you one last question. Because there's so much ear disease, and
Yes, sir.
it's been there since the beginning of mankind. Do you feel your colleagues, let's say there's the 196 that belong to your society,
Yes,
do
sir.
you feel that the ones that are doing ear surgery are competent in ear surgery, or are you seeing lots of complications from surgery by the surgeons?
Oh.
You can be.
So previously it was there, but our institute is one of the best institute. Uh, I proudly say in Southeast Asia. During this master's training PG program, the PG residents, they are exposed to many ear cases, and they uh, get chance to do many ear surgeries.
Mhm.
So nowadays, there are not much complications, sir. Not many complications. Previously, there were.
Okay. And then just one other question. Do you use general anesthesia or do you do it under IV sedation with local, your ear surgeries?
Sir, for myringoplasty, most of the myringoplasty we do under local anesthesia in adult. And for children, we do under general anesthesia. And mastoid surgeries, we do under general anesthesia, sir.
Okay. Yeah, because one of the things that I have enjoyed teaching is how to do mastoid surgery under IV sedation. It's
Oh,
it can be
yes,
done.
sir.
There's some parameters you need to follow, but at least I'm glad to hear that your tympanoplasties. If you can do tympanoplasties under IV sedation, you can do mastoidectomy under IV sedation.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Anyway,
Definitely.
we can talk about that later.
All
If
right.
there's no further questions, it's time for Narmaya to go to sleep because it's very late in Nepal. We want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for taking this time to share what you know about your country and help us to, appreciate the land of the highest mountain called Mount Everest. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, and we'll stay in touch. If anybody
Pleasure.
has any further questions, we'll share this on YouTube. We're gonna put this on
Sure.
YouTube. We'll also go ahead and send any questions that people might have, and we'd like to stay in touch with you, Normaya. Okay.
All right, sir. It's my pleasure.
Okay.
It will be my pleasure to
Okay.
answer any questions if you have. You can ask question in YouTube also, in my email ad also.
I'll give everybody your email address from my on WhatsApp. Okay, Normaya.
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay. Listen. Good night. Thank you very much,
Good
and
night.
we'll
Thank you,
talk soon.
everyone. For yes, thank you. Good night. Yeah. Have a good day. Yeah, and safe day.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.